Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the video. This is another paid request, this time from Richard, who gave a very generous donation and request to my PayPal. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reviews, commentaries, reactions, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box under the video. But yeah, Richard, thank you so much, and he wanted me to talk about Daredevil Season 1. Now, this is a show I had heard a lot about, never got around to watching it until now, and for suspense, I liked it. Sorry, lame attempt at suspense. I liked it overall. I liked Charlie Cox as the lead. I thought he did a very good, very effective job. I think the fight scenes are very nicely done. Especially this one in an episode that's all done like in one shot, one take in a hallway. Very solid choreography. I think when it centers on Charlie Cox and Daredevil, I think that's when it's the strongest. Vincent D'Onofrio comes in later as Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. Interesting what they did with his character. I wouldn't say they try to make him more likable. It's just they try to make him a bit more three-dimensional. Like, they still maintain he's a monster and this rage. I mean, he cuts a guy's head off with a damn door. Like, he decapitates a guy, a Russian that wronged him, with a fucking door. Like, but yeah, they try to make him less boring, less one-dimensional, because they give him like a bit of this love story with this girl, and then a little bit of his backstory in one episode when he was a kid and his abusive father. But again, I don't really feel it's to make him more to feel sorry for, at least to me. Again, it's just to flesh out the character more. So again, I think Daredevil, they don't call him the Kingpin, but I'll just call him the Kingpin. Wilson Fisk. They definitely are the best parts of this. Scott Glenn, is cool to see him in one episode as Stick, the mentor. I think it's cool because it reminds me of The Challenge, an underrated film directed by John Frankenheimer back in the day with Toshiro Mifune, where Scott Glenn's this American boxer and he gets his job because he has no money. It's something to do with the sword, and one thing leads to another. He's led into the world of the Japanese culture and trains to be a fighter and a sword fighter. And I'm not going to spoil that, but it's a pretty good action film in my opinion. Finally did get a Blu-ray years ago. I'll get more specific to the episodes, but I'm kind of just giving my general thoughts at first. Like I said, I think Charlie Cox did a really good job. The Daredevil costume doesn't come into play until the very final episode, and then, from what I understand, that's in Season 2. It's more of this old school, just kind of a black bandana. Much more of a simpler type of a costume. Because in a way you say this is, I don't know, it's hard to say origin, but in a way it is, because it does show like the Kingpin, his dealings with them, the development of getting the suit, getting the name Daredevil from the newspapers. There are flashbacks to his childhood, being blinded, his father being the boxer who didn't want to throw a fight and gets killed. A bit of his training with his mentor, his tutor, his master, Stick, who's a hell of a hard ass on the kid. But I thought Scott Glenn was fun. Only one episode in the season. And then throughout it, he has this law firm with his buddy, Foggy, played by Elden Henson. He's a guy who was in Idle Hands. He was partnered with Seth Green. when they both die and come back in idle hands. He's the other guy, Elden Henson. Was it Nub or Pub? I forget his name. Maybe Nub. He plays Foggy. I think he's the worst part of the show. Now, I do think his acting got a bit better as the season went along. But as it started off, like, he was just very... It's like over-rehearsed for high school play. Oh, come on, man. We're doing it this way. It just didn't come off as natural compared to, like, Charlie Cox and the other people. And then as it went along, I do think his acting got a bit better. It's just his character... I understand it. It's a comic relief character. It wants to have lighter moments within this very gritty, dark show. Especially compared to the MCU films at that time. I'm fine with that. Hell, I like Jon Favreau a lot in the 2003 Daredevil movie. But I think he was a miles better Foggy than this. And I like the 2003 Daredevil movie. That's still my favorite Daredevil thing. I liked this season, but the 2003 Daredevil was still my favorite. Maybe because I like a movie more than a show. Maybe because the director's cut, I like the fight scenes. I think Ben Affleck was a good Daredevil. I like the look of the suit. I like the lines. Time to give the devil his due. Love the soundtrack. I have fun with Michael Clark Duncan, Colin Farrell. I think Ben Affleck and Jon Favreau, their banter, their back and forth, I bought them more as friends. I bought them more in this fun banter, playing off each other. That was just much more enjoyable, and you see that more in the director's cut, the R-rated director's cut of Daredevil. That relationship between Daredevil and Foggy was just much more enjoyable and fun to watch in the movie compared to this. Because Foggy, like I said, Elden Henson, I think his acting wasn't that good at first, and even when it got better, the Foggy character just became a fucking wimpy fucking pussy. Like, that's the way I viewed him, like a pussy. Just later on, he finds out that Matt is Daredevil. He's butthurt. His panties twisting in the wind, or his G-strings up his crack. What the fuck? I'm like, dude, I get it. Your friend lied to you. Because he was a fucking superhero. But at the same time, he's halfway fucking dead. He's beating up the shit. I think, suck it up, Buttercup, and be a little bit more understanding. Stop being a fucking bitch. Fucking panty twisting in the wind. Foggy. God damn it. So I just really grew to dislike that character. And anytime he was on screen, my balls itched. I got ass rash. The rash on my ass. He became my least favorite part of the show. And I think that's why, can't even say the show, the season. And that's why I would say I like the first half more than the second half. Because the second half of the season was a bit more about Foggy with this lady Karen Page and their investigation. And then they're separated by Charlie Cox. Because Charlie Cox Daredevil was very hurt, so he's resting, trying to recuperate. And, okay, you got some cool Vincent D'Onofrio stuff, but it's like, I don't care about Foggy and Karen and their investigation. I like the Ben Urich, the reporter. I like that actor. I forget his name. If you ever seen the movie Broken Arrow with John Travolta, in the trailer you have the guy on the phone. We got ourselves a broken arrow. That guy, he's been in a lot of other stuff. He's the guy who's Ben Urich in this. I liked him. The girl who played Karen Page, Deborah Ann Woll, she was alright. Kind of in between. Rosario Dawson, who's this nurse that helps Daredevil, Matt Murdock in episode 2, and she appears throughout, I liked her a lot more. I would say Rosario Dawson as this nurse, I liked her a lot more. Maybe because I liked her as an actress, I am a Rosario Dawson fan. I liked her in Sin City. I even didn't mind her in Death Proof with Tarantino's film. Clerks 2. I do like Rosario Dawson, if I just say the name right. And I just... any romance possibilities between her and Matt Murdock, I bought more. I liked her attitude more. I just liked her and her character a lot more than Karen Page. Let's say, like, Karen Page and Foggy, they were the less interesting aspects of the season to me. Like I said, was Matt Murdock and the fight scenes and the Vincent D'Onofrio stuff, or was there, that to me was much more my cup of tea. And like I said, there's not a lot of bad CGI I noticed. A lot of it's done for real practical. The fight scenes, like I said, are pretty well choreographed. Daredevil gets beat up a lot. I will say there are times I felt like he got beat up a bit too much, because it seems like everybody kicked his ass, but at least he does not give up, and he does get back up, and there are a good lot of moments where he shines, especially the last episode in the fight with Wilson Fisk. At least you gave me that. That's why I'm not that angry about it, because there are a good amount of moments where that's part of his thing. He doesn't give up, like his dad. We get hit a lot, but you don't give up. That's part of his character, part of his father, the boxer was. But at times I'm like, God damn, like, I know there's healing, this meditation thing gives you ideas better healing, but sometimes I'm like, fuck, he should have a broken rib times 5. His arm should be shattered. At times, even I'm like, God damn. I mean, cool, he did beaten up because he did something to root for or come back, but sometimes, like, God damn, just... like, when he fights this ninja Nobu, I'm like, he gets sliced up better, more than a fucking Thanksgiving turkey being carved up. Like, ease down a little bit, for fuck's sake, but... Also, I know this is a weird thing, but when Matt Murdock, his eyes, I think there should have been a little bit more starring. That's that's another thing I did like in the 2003 Daredevil film, is that when Ben Affleck, you see his eyes is a bit of a, what you put it, a bleach type of discoloration. In this, when he takes it off, the eyes look perfectly fine. Now, granted, yes, I understand there's different kinds of scarring, but I just, that little visual thing, I think, this little nitpick that it is one little thing I like more in the 2003 movie. Because I don't hate that film. I never hated the theatrical cut. I think the director's cut is much better, and that should have been released in theaters. I still think that film's underrated. I still like that more. But there's a lot of good stuff to like in this. So, episode 1, you do get a bit of his backstory. I like the fact that he saved a guy, so it shows, again, he's got, even as a kid, a heroic streak to him. He's told you, the Murdock boys got the devil in them. Yeah, a bit of the religion in this, the confession. There are times throughout the season he goes to this priest. He's wondering, should I kill Wilson Fisk? Wouldn't that be better? Bit of losing of faith here. Wouldn't be better. So, I didn't mind, because at least they attempted. Because I was like, well, why don't you just fucking kill the guy? At least there's conversations about that. So it's not making the audience feel being treated like idiots for not bringing it up. There's these girls being transported, human trafficking. Daredevil stops them. Then he did some really decent fighting choreography. I don't know if Charlie Cox does it. I don't know if it's a fight double that does it, because I'm not that familiar with Charlie Cox. So I don't know if he's been training this, or if every fight scene is a double. I don't know. If so, I want to give credit to that double. Great job on the fight, sir. I like this bit where there's this asshole sitting in a chair eating his Cheetos or whatever, and Daredevil throws the... I know he's not called Daredevil until the last episode, but I'm just going to call him Daredevil. Throws the stun, this baton thing, right at the guy's face sitting in the chair, knocks him the fuck out. I did like that bit. And then you didn't know a bit about Foggy and Matt Murdock and their law firm. They just started. Karen Page wakes up. This guy's dead. She's arrested. Matt Murdock can listen to her heartbeat. Knows she's not lying. She's telling the truth. They help her. Assassin tries to kill her. Fights the guy in the rain. Before that, this guard tried to kill Miss Page. At least you show that she's got a little bit of fight in her. Claws one of his eyes out. The fight in the rain is pretty good. They're wondering what to do because Karen Page is working with an organization called Union Allied, and there's some bad things going on with that. And you come to find out that's linked to Wilson Fisk. So they tell the newspapers, Karen Page is let go. She's very thankful, so she decides to work for our two characters here. But you know there's other stuff going on because that guard who was kind of forced to do this for his child's safety, he's been found shot in the head. The assassin is found in this jail cell, Hun. So you know there's a lot of corruption behind these things going on. Good first episode. I thought it did a nice job establishing the gritty vibe of it. Did not mind the lighting throughout it of the show. Again, some decent fighting. I know usually with a pilot, for what I understand, like a pilot, usually they'll shoot a lot longer, like a month. But then for the other shows, it's like, I don't know, 7 to 10 days. I don't know if that was the case in here, or with Netflix they just shoot it like a movie. Yeah, I don't know the difference. But I know like Smallville, for what I understand, I did the first pilot took like a month to shoot, but then episodes after I think took about 10 days to shoot. I only know that because recently Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling, they created a new podcast on YouTube where they're watching every single Smallville episode and talking about it. It was on one, I was looking at a video and it was on the side. I'm like, let me listen to a bit of this. Oh, okay. And that was one of the things they mentioned. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So those, I think it's called Talkville. Those are interested. It's on YouTube. Give it a look if you want. But yeah, I thought it was a good first episode. I didn't really have a lot of complaints about this. Episode 2, I would probably say is my favorite episode of the season. You find Daredevil bleeding, hurt in a dumpster. This guy helps him to this nurse played by Rosario Dawson. So that's one reason, because I'm a big fan of Rosario Dawson. She'd be in my top 10 favorite actresses. Yeah, I liked her persona. I liked her attitude. I liked her in a lot of movies. Like I said, I liked her more than Karen Page. That's why I wish she was in the show more than Karen Page, to be honest. Yeah, a bit of flashbacks to what happened to his dad, murdered because he didn't throw the fight. And Rosario Dawson, I mean, for this nurse, she's pretty cool under pressure. This bit where Daredevil, his air, he can't breathe, so she has to punch a hole through it in order to help him breathe. You have some good, like, neo-noir type of lighting. It's definitely trying to go for much more grittier, bloodier, far away from the very jokey MCU Avengers stuff. Which is good. It makes it different, more down-to-earth. I like the bit where, because of his hearing, he knows there's some guy out there and he's searching, and that he didn't believe her when she answered the door. So he takes like a fire extinguisher and he listens, and then he drops it right on the fucking guy's head. Fucked his day up. I liked that bit. I thought that was pretty clever. They're doing this Foggy, Karen Page romance. And like I said, those, I can't help it. If people like those two, that's cool. Karen Page, I'll take over Foggy, but I don't care about those two. Whatever it cuts to them, I can't help it. It just, I mentioned that before. I didn't care. I didn't really give a rat's ass about it. I didn't fast forward it, but it's one of those things that if I had a fast forward button, I would just use it on this. And again, Elden Henson, this one is acting just very, oh, come on, I'm just doing this. It's, again, like overly rehearsed with his line delivery. So again, they're having their date and they're getting drunk while yelling, "The mighty eel strength," and "Hey Matt, I'm gonna buy a bluefin. I'm gonna buy some fish. I'm gonna buy a bluefin. Buy a case of shut the fuck up, or buy some duct tape for your mouth, or I don't know, buy a male hooker and have a dick to suck. I don't care, Foggy. Go to Foggy Creek next to Body Creek. I don't care. Just leave." But it's pretty much introduction of this nurse, him getting healed up, and then like his dad didn't want to give up. He's not going to give up. He goes back in this hallway, and to me, I think it's the best action scene in the whole season, where it's done like in this one whole take, where he goes to this hallway, goes to his room, then with camera passes by, he's beating up stuff, goes over here, goes out the door, beating this guy left and right. Some nice choreography. He gets hit a few times. He hits back. Again, there are times I could deal with in this scene, but there are times later on where I thought, man, he just gets beat a bit too much. To be like, he's not getting up this time, but I thought this I was fine with, and it worked out well, and get some nice choreography, and it was cool that the work into make it look like it was one take. And it definitely shows that he's hurt and he's getting tired as he's doing it. It's a nice showcase of that. You know, get more tired he's doing it. But ultimately, he does beat all their ass, saves the kid. And I thought that was a very worthwhile. I'm like, okay, this show's pretty cool. Yeah, the first episode I liked. This was awesome. Alright then, okay. And then the third episode happened. And I went, Which I think is one of the weakest episodes. Because I definitely did not like this episode as much as the first two. The beginning was interesting. This assassin is told to kill this guy at a bowling alley. He fucks up. And then almost gets his ass kicked. But he ultimately does kill the guy with a bowling ball. He wants a lawyer. By this point, we haven't seen Wilson Fisk yet, but he has this, was it Wesley? His assistant, who they know that these two lawyers helped with Karen Page, so they get these two to hired to look at this assassin's case. Just kind of keep tabs on him. That's also when you introduce the Ben Urich, the reporter, who he has his sick wife, and he means to do a good job as an investigator, and Karen Page kind of ultimately helps him pull him into this case and look into trying to get evidence on what's really going on in the higher echelon of corruption. Karen Page gets threatened of being sued because he broke the NDA, and they want her to come back and work for this company the keyboard tabs on him. On her, I should say. And I don't know, just this episode, it just didn't do much for me. I guess it was an episode that showcased more of the lawyer tactics of our main characters. But at the same time, maybe because, I know it's not fair to say, but maybe because I kind of got that at the beginning of the 2003 Daredevil movie, which I know is not fair because this has to establish. But also in this show, in the first episode, we established that he took the Karen Page and heard the heartbeat. He pretty much does the same thing here and knows that one of them was threatened in this case. And then he follows a guy, beats the hell out of him and goes, "You leave her alone. You don't leave her alone, I'll come back again and fuck you up." He doesn't say that, but in his mind he did. So they get the guy off, not in that way. They get him released. Get him off. That's a different movie. Dare Pickle, starring Charlie Cox and Karen Poontang. But gets him out of jail. And there's a decent fight with the assassin. And I do like the bit that after this fight, he gives up the Wilson Fisk name. But he's like, oh no, if he knows, he's not going to just kill me, he's going to kill my family, my friends, all that. And then he impales himself on this spike. And I thought that was definitely one of the gorier parts of the season. And I like Matt Murdock's, like, he figures out what happened, and he's as freaked out as the viewer. And it shows like, damn, this must show how insanely intimidating this guy is. And then the very final shot is Vincent D'Onofrio at an art gallery looking at a painting, and someone asks how you feel looking at this, and he goes, alone. And Vincent D'Onofrio is just a good actor. From Full Metal Jacket to The Cell to a lot of other movies, just a very talented actor and a good choice for Wilson Fisk. And like I said, they make him an interesting character as he has his love story with this art gallery lady, and it's that he... You know how actors will say when they play a villain, they do it where they believe the villain is right, and they believe the villain, he thinks he's the hero of his own story? That definitely plays off in this, where Vincent D'Onofrio's character really believes that he's doing this for the benefit of the city, and he's here to clean up and fix the city, and there's a couple eggs you gotta break along the way. Break it a few eggs, but he really believes in it. And the backstory about his mom and him were abused, and he killed his dad with his hammer, and this sort of rage inside him that builds up when someone he cares for gets hurt. Like I said, made Wilson Fisk definitely more of an interesting character than just a one-note villain. But yeah, episode 3, like, other than those little bits, I thought the rest of it was kind of a boring Law and Order episode. Like, it was only like the last 5-7 minutes with the fight with the assassin, with the Wilson Fisk thing, and then like the first 5 minutes and the last 5-10 minutes is what I got. And these episodes are like 50 minutes long. So, and that kind of gets into the pacing of these shows. I read up somewhere that I guess when Netflix had this deal, it had to be 13 episodes no matter what. And even someone who worked at Netflix at the time mentioned how even they know there could be some pacing issues because of that. Because you have to stretch things out. And granted, nowadays, there's some that are shorter than 13 episodes, but I don't think this need... if that's the deal they had to do it. They had to do it. But this did not need to be 13 episodes where each one's like 50 minutes long. I mean, this could be 8 episodes. Yeah, I think 8 episodes, maybe 9 could be fair. I'll tell you one thing, I enjoy this a lot more than Stranger Things Season 4. And that was 9 episodes, but that was a lot more boring than this. This at least kept my interest for the most part. Episode 4 I thought was a bit more back on track. It's funny, when Rosario Dawson is in the scene, it gets a bit better. Because it starts with Daredevil interrogating people. You have a guy land on a car, which is a nice reveal. He's patched up again by Rosario. When he gets beaten up, he goes to her to be patched up. I like the relationship between Matt and Rosario. I could buy their chemistry with each other. I could buy them kind of falling for each other. I think they were good simpatico with each other. Again, I like the actor who plays the reporter, Ben Urich. At this point, the Russians are looking for Daredevil, and they talk to this guy who, in episode 2, Daredevil got info and had him land in a dumpster. They talked him in the hospital. They kidnapped Rosario Dawson. And she's tough. She's tough. She's not a damsel. She's not a... They didn't let her say it, but I could buy her saying, "Fuck you." And then Daredevil, takes him out. And even Rosario hits one with a baseball bat. So, I mean, I like seeing more of Matt Murdock and Rosario Dawson together. Because, again, Charlie Cox and her, I think, have good chemistry with each other. I like... It's not as intricate of a fight scene compared to, the hallway and stuff, but you still get some decent ass-kicking. You get a bit of Wilson Fisk and him falling in love with this art gallery lady and having dinner. And him, being nervous about it. And, again, it makes you go, well, okay, what's up with this Wilson Fisk guy? He's the main villain, but he's being very nervous with this girl at dinner, and I think it's kind of, maybe this wasn't on purpose, but I think it was kind of putting your guard down. Okay, this Wilson Fisk doesn't seem that bad. But then when this Russian breaks in, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I need to talk to you," and ruins his dinner, and as Wilson Fisk puts it, "You embarrassed me." He fucking beats the fuck out of this Russian bad guy, tears him apart, and that's where he decapitates the motherfucker with a goddamn door. Boop, boop, boop. Just keeps slamming it, and then I'm to and the sound effects, and take that. What's left of him back to his brother. That's the fucking kingpin. There you go. Yeah, that's a rage. Don't fuck with them. I also like the bit of dialogue where Matt Murdock is going, "Why am I doing this? Nothing's changing out there." And I think Rosario brings up, well, that boy you saved, you changed his life. You saved him. And I like that the hero, does have that doubt of, am I doing what I'm doing? Is it pointless? Is it not pointless? So I would say that's definitely one of the better episodes. It's called In the Blood. It's better than that movie I saw called In the Blood. I think... Who the hell starred in it? Was that the one with... I can't... I can't remember. That's how good it was. Episode 5... it was there. I like the bit where now Matt Murdock is patching Rosario Dawson up, and he can hear like the hairline fracture. So he's getting a little bit more of his senses. We see what his POV, as he calls it, is a world on fire. I like the visual of the POV. There's a bit with dirty cops. Matt Murdock's able to hear one of them kill a suspect in order to help Wilson Fisk. Meanwhile, these businessmen is evicting this lady and her tenants. That's his Evertarian Page and Foggy. Again, that's the stuff that just didn't do anything for me. Wilson Fisk, you get a little bit more of his rationale. The city needs to die before it can be reborn. The Russian, his brother's been killed. Daredevil got framed for it, so they want to hunt Daredevil. They have this meeting, then there's a big explosion, and the cops arrive, and that's where it takes us to episode 6. So episode 5, I thought it was kind of a... I hate to say it kind of felt like filler, like to get between the more interesting episodes. Okay, we gotta build up that these cops are dirty. We gotta build up that the Russians are pissed and Daredevil's framed. We gotta build up this lady with the tenants, because that's gonna lead to something else later with this lady who gets murdered, and that's gonna be more fuel for Daredevil to go up against Wilson Fisk. We gotta build up to this explosion, because then the cops are there, and this one Russian Daredevil kind of trapped in here, and they have to figure out a way to escape. And it's kind of like this in-between episode where we got build-up stuff, but I can't really say there's any action or fight scenes or such that really come to mind. Like I said, there's little moments like between him and Rosario Dawson, I don't mind. Foggy has one decent moment of dialogue where he's talking to this girl who he used to date, and he gives a line like, you know, the top of your salon blow out to the bottom of your oversized pumps. Him like sticking up for himself. I didn't mind that moment. There's a moment where Foggy didn't seem like a pussy. But then that would change later, because later on he just seemed like a big old pussy. Jeez, that's a bit pussy. Jeez, that's a bit pussy. Just talking about Foggy. Because episode 6, I definitely think is one of the better episodes. Like, that's... Like, if you say, like, top 5 favorite episodes this season, like, episode 2, 4... It's funny, it's the even episode. I didn't realize that so far. Like, just for some... It's like some people with Star Trek. It's the evens. The even ones. Although I like Star Trek 1 and 3 and can watch 5. But I like the first one. Like I said, 2, 4, and 6 so far are the favorite ones. Because episode 6, the cops around him, he takes out these dirty cops, and he does a nice job with choreography on that. He's trying to help this Russian to get info, and the Russian's talking shit. I love Daredevil's line, "I don't speak asshole." I thought that was great. I just didn't think Daredevil would say that. I figured he'd say, "Oh, I don't speak Russian." He's like, "I don't speak asshole." I would say that's my favorite line in the season. I gotta steal that. "I don't speak asshole." I'm definitely stealing that for something. But they tells Rosario Dawson, and he's got to cauterize this Russian's wound with a fucking flare, which was pretty cool, pretty gnarly. At premise, they're surrounded by cops, and then at the same time, this Russian's still fighting him. At this point, they finally go through the fucking floor. It's the first time where he talks with Wilson Fisk through walkie-talkie. I like that scene where they both are similar, but yet very different in their ideals. And that could be kind of cool when you have your hero, your villain, kind of two sides of the same coin. That kind of detail that they're going for. It's your ideology that makes you dangerous. And it also shows how smart Wilson Fisk is, because he said, okay, you're in there, I got a sniper, shoot some cops, we'll blame it on him, make your life more a living hell. Means to an end. And then the Russian, he ultimately finds out, he realizes this guy's a decent guy, so he wants this guy to take revenge for his brother's death, because he knows he's not going to make it, so he stays behind, and so that Daredevil can escape. I just thought that was a very effective episode. It didn't feel slow. It didn't feel boring. I think it was definitely felt like one of the more quicker paced episodes of the season. Again, that's just me. And so I wrote this down so I would not forget. Episode 7 I enjoyed strictly because it dealt with the mentor Stick, played by Scott Glenn. Like I said, remind me of the show, the movie The Challenge. And that's another thing, like Stick, for people who don't know, Daredevil was one of the inspirations for the Ninja Turtles. That's why their master is called Splinter. Because, hey, Daredevil's mentor is called Stick, so their master called Splinter. Stick, Splinter, you know. Instead of the hand, it's the foot. So yeah, Daredevil was a big inspiration for Ninja Turtles. But it was great to see Scott Glenn in there. He's having a lot of fun. He's a good wise ass. He's there to get help from Daredevil about this weapon called Black Sky. There's flashbacks of being very gruff and teaching the kid how to fight, and again, being gruff enough with him. And I like the dialogue, the way they wrote it for Stick. Like when he gets into Matt Murdock's apartment, and he's saying stuff like, man, you ain't taking care of shit. Or, come on, you're a warrior, Spartans, you're the baddest of the badasses. You need to cut them loose. Any of your friends, whatever, you need to cut them loose. And like there's a bit where Matt Murdock goes, you're a dick. And Scott Glenn goes, that's true. You got any beer? So I like that, and I would like to have seen more of him. But I'm sure he's in the other stuff. Like there's 2 more seasons, there's The Defenders. I'm sure he's in some of that stuff, but there's other stuff going on. Karen Page has worked with Ben Urich in this investigation to this Union Allied. As much as I don't mind the actor who plays Ben Urich, I just didn't care about this subplot. I just didn't find it interesting. I didn't find it intriguing. It's just a means to an end. Oh, I should mention another actor, Bob Gunton. He was the warden in The Shawshank Redemption. He's been in a lot of other stuff as well. I know he was the evil scientist guy in Bats with Lou Diamond Phillips. He's there as an accountant who works for Wilson Fisk. I will say, with how rage-filled and deadly Wilson Fisk is, there are a lot of times where I thought Bob Gunton's character was talking a lot of shit. I'm like, dude, you're being a bit more of a wise ass. I'm surprised Wilson Fisk didn't like break his fucking nose any variety of ways, or like crush his fucking hand. It just seemed like a bit too mouthy in front of Wilson Fisk for the team and the tape that gruff, so to speak. But man, that's just me. Like I said, I don't care about Karen Page going after the company. It's just a means to an end. The stuff between Daredevil and Stick was cool. I do wish the operation that they go, because then Daredevil finds out this weapon is a kid, and Stick goes, that's not a kid, that's something else. Which I think probably goes to, I would assume, a bit more of the supernatural route. But they don't get too much into that. But like when Daredevil fights these bad guys, I mean, it's there. But I guess I was wishing and hoping for a bit more of a bigger action set piece. That's just me. Like, the bitter attribute set piece is when he finds out Stick did kill that kid. He said, he had to do it. It was a weapon. You don't know what it is. Then Daredevil fights him. It's a pretty good fight between... yeah, I don't know how much of that was Scott Glenn, but it was a good fight between the two in Matt Murdock's apartment. And once again, like every fight, Matt Murdock gets the shit kicked out of him. But again, he doesn't give up, and he gets back up, and he gets his own hits in. And yeah, throughout, like, there's some really good backflips that he does. In this bit, he does this flip where Scott Glenn's behind him. He does this flip so that Scott Glenn lands on the thing. Nice punches and kicks. Defeats Stick. I mean, again, it's pretty much... Here's an episode to establish who Stick is and their backstory. But again, I do think it was one of the better episodes. I did enjoy that. And like I said, Scott Glenn, I'm a fan of him. I think he's a good actor. People may remember him from Silence of the Lambs or Backdraft. Nice to see him in here. Episode 8, you could pretty much call it the Wilson Fisk episode. By this point, his lady have been poisoned. She's in the hospital. He's very pissed off about that because he cares for her, doesn't know what happened, who did it, and were they going for him. It shows his routine of waking up. I'm trying to think, actually, are we there yet that she's... No, we're not there yet that she's sick. Sorry, we're not there yet. That's later on. At this point, the lady's fine. That's until, I think, the end of episode 10? Yeah, episode 10, that's when it happens. We're not there yet. This is pretty much Wilson Fisk doing his routine, waking up, and then he sees his reflection. It's a reflection of him as a kid being bloody, completely bloodied up. And it gets more into Wilson Fisk, like his abusive childhood, his asshole dad, how the dad made him beat up a bully, beats the shit out of his mom, and as a kid, took care of his dad with a hammer. And, the dad would tell him stuff like, you should be a teen, not a fat little pussy. It definitely makes you hate this character. So you understand fully why the kid fucking bashes his goddamn brains in. And again, it does get a bit more into making the teen pain a little bit more interesting. His relationship with Vanessa, he has a line, that I'm not a monster. Am I? I think it's a guy who thinks he's the hero of his own story. It's a guy who doesn't realize that, yes, you are the monster. And I talked about this before about the Wilson Fisk. It's pretty much in this episode you did a chunk of that. I would say that's what made the episode a little bit interesting. The other stuff happens. One of the cops that was shot in episode 6, they get his partner to kill his partner cop in the hospital, and then Daredevil gets blamed for that as well. And that partner cop, he comes in a very important play later in the season. So that was, again, it was interesting to see a bit more into Wilson Fisk. Episode 9, I would say, is also one of my least favorite episodes, along with episode 3 and 5. At the beginning, that's when he's getting his ass remotely, absolutely kicked by this ninja where you find out it's Nobu, one of the people working with Wilson Fisk. This is where I thought he got his ass kicked a bit too much for my liking. He has conversations with his priest on whether to kill or not. Nobu wants this city block, and you have to kick these tenants out. So Wilson Fisk, one thing leads to another, gets this junkie to kill this lady. And Daredevil finds the junkie and warns him, you don't turn yourself in, otherwise I'm going to take care of you. I didn't mind the moment where Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk comes face to face, because Matt Murdock tries to talk to a lady at this art gallery and Wilson Fisk is there. And arresting that that's how they have their first one-on-one meeting. The fight with the ninja, like I say, this is ass kicked. He does one or two things. It kind of accidentally beats him. Because, like, throws something. It bounces it off and hits this thing. And then it sets the ninja on fire. Good stuff from the person. Because he even tries to fight while on fire. That's a hell of a thing to do. But it's just, I mean, the fact he gets his ass so royally kicked. And then he barely won. Like, by accident. And then Wilson Fisk comes in and cashes money in the bank, so to speak. Beats the fuck out of Daredevil, then Daredevil jumps out the window to escape. And that's when the season kind of, and the next couple episodes went a bit mundane for me. That's why I say I like the first half more than the second. But I did like the final episode of episode 13. I did quite like that one. So I do think it ended strong. But in episode 10, he's hurt. He gets, and that's when Foggy finds out that Matt Murdock is the vigilante. And Foggy just comes off as a wimpy fucking pussy in this. It's like, dude, I get it. Again, this guy's been lying to you for years. He's your close friend. I get that. But at the same time, if you're trying to find out that he pretty much seems like he has superpowers and he's half fucking dead, he's bleeding all over the place, yeah, I'm going to calm the fuck down and be like, ooh, my hurt feelings, you fucking snowflake. God damn it. You know what I feel about that? Fuck your feelings. Foggy. And he says stupid snowflake shit like, wait, so that's why you knew Taryn Page wasn't lying? You listened to her heartbeat without her permission? Let me repeat that again. You listened to her heartbeat without her permission. Wow, what a fucking pussy. Is this a type of character that... Do you put on panties or boxer shorts when you get up in the morning? Like, god damn it, you pansy ass pussy. God damn. This episode is what killed the character for me. I know a lot of people reading up, they felt opposite. Like, this is when the character comes into play. I'm like, no, this is where it made me from dislike to hating that character. I'm like, fuck this guy. I don't care about this character. I don't care if he got killed off. Which is funny. There was a tweet. I don't know if it's for season 2 or season 3 that Sam Jackson wrote. Said, liking it, but I hope, but I would, if Foggy got Red Weddings, I wouldn't be sad. Red Wedding is I think the Game of Thrones where a lot of characters got killed off. And, yeah, if he got killed off, I wouldn't care. I really would not care. In fact, I wish he got killed off than this other guy, which I'll get to in episode 12. Well, Ben Urich gets killed off. I'm like, I'd rather if Foggy got killed off. But, I mean, they're not going to do that. So Ben Urich, he's doing more investigation, but he's going to quit because his wife is sick and he needs the money elsewhere and he can't do this anymore. And then Taryn Page, this is where it makes me kind of dislike her more because she fucking lied to him. Because Ben Urich told her, listen, I'm quitting, I need to take care of my wife. And then she said, hey, take a ride with me, let me see if I can change your mind. Unbeknownst to him, took him to this home where Wilson Fisk's mom is at, and then Wilson Fisk finds out, and then Ben Urich gets killed for it. So Karen Page, you pretty much, I mean, she does blame herself, to be fair. So it's not like they did that by accident. At least they're smart enough that when that funeral happens, episode 13, Karen Page does blame herself. I'm like, you're right. It is your fault. When you're right, you're right. But I know what they're going for, but I'm just saying, oh, good job, biatch. That's what I mean. If Karen Page or Foggy died, I wouldn't care. And then, there's flashbacks of Foggy and Matt Murdock in college. And then Foggy leaves. I'm like, good, leave the show for good. Again, if I want to see that character, Jon Favreau was much more funny, much more interesting, just entertaining, just more likable. Much more likable as the confidant and comic relief for Daredevil compared to this guy. And Jon Favreau didn't come off as a pussy like this guy. So that actually might be my least favorite episode. Yeah, I would say that's my least favorite episode. And yeah, that might be my least favorite. And when it gets to episode 11, this is where I'm going, the pacing sucks. This is where I'm like, oh my god, because episode 9, I didn't love Game Busters. Episode 10, I'm like, oh my god. Episode 11, again, this is now much less Daredevil, because he's so hurt, he needs to recuperate. It's much less, it's more about Foggy and Taryn, and Foggy and Taryn's investigation. And now at this point, Vanessa, the girl that Wilson Fisk likes, she's in the hospital because people were poisoned. Rosario Dawson says goodbye. He sees a guy about some armor. More Foggy being a fucking bitch in heat. Karen, ready to be a fucking Karen. I just don't know, when I came here is so good. But then, you guys are talking to each other and no one's talking to me. It's like, fuck. God damn it. The fuck is going on now? Like, I was really liking the show. Now what the fuck's going on with this horse shit? The only of interest is that Wilson Fisk's assistant Wesley talks to Karen, says you don't work with us and be our mouthpiece, otherwise we're going to kill your friends. And the guy was stupid enough to leave a loaded gun right in the middle, so his own stupid fault. And she grabs it. He's like, you think I would have a loaded gun? And, okay, this one moment of Karen I liked. She goes, you think you're the first person I've shot? Shoots and kills him. I'm like, good! I guess she feels guilty afterward because, in real life, killing someone would affect you. But good. She steals it. Says a good line. You're not the first person I shot. Good. Kill his ass. Good. Fucking good. That was like the only thing in episode 11 that I gave a flying fuck about. So yeah, episode 10 and 11 are probably my least favorite episodes. Episode 12 was a little bit more interesting because I like Vincent D'Onofrio, again, showing that he's not a one-note villain. He actually did care about this guy. Like, he beats the fuck out of this other... henchman, you weren't there with him? He told us not to. He's like beating him up and they gotta stop him. He's my friend! And you could tell that Wilson Fisk did care about this guy. So it just makes Fisk, again, more three-dimensional. Ben Urich gets fired. You have this Madame Gao, who I believe she's Chinese. And that was an interesting part, is that she has workers for heroin, and they're all blind. So I thought it was an interesting, fucked up idea that all of her workers are blind. And you've seen this throughout it. One was used for a suicide bombing and other stuff. Just how she has all these blind workers that just do what she's told, like zombies, and working with drugs. And Daredevil finally gets back to Rutger Place. Again, action not nearly up to par. I think I was kind of spoiled by episode 2. Even episode 1, you had 2 pretty decent fight scenes. Episode 2, you had that crazy hallway fight. I was spoiled from that because that's the best one. It was in episode 2. There's been some good fights later, but here, I think there's a lot more. Like having him go around this factory and knock this guy out, beat this guy. He didn't get to do a whole lot. And even this old woman kicked his ass a bit. That little kung fu thing, and then she... Great, I mean, you don't have Daredevil beat the fuck out of an old woman like that. I guess, that'd be pretty brutal if he threw it, and the old woman... Can you imagine that? Throw a baton, hits her in the mouth, spits up blood. But, oh, shit. Maybe they think that'd be a bit too much. And it ends with Wilson Fisk killing Ben Urich with rage. And like I said, at least now we're finally getting somewhere back on track. There's a step in the right direction. Like I said, I do wish there's a bit more extravagant fighting action during that factory. Like I said, I like the bit with the blind workers, and they try to crowd him. It's like, no, I'm trying to help you, guys. I'm trying to help you. I like that bit because it makes it a bit more interesting where he's trying to help these people, but at the same time, they don't understand or realize it. It's an interesting dichotomy. And then I thought episode 13, it ended on a strong note, where there's a funeral for Ben Urich. Wilson Fisk finds out Gao and Bob Gunton's character screwed him over. They try to poison the lady he loved because she's a distraction. He gets pissed. I thought Bob Gunton should have had a more gory death because he was such a guy that would talk so much shit and speak out of turn. When he threw the guy down an elevator shaft, I was waiting for him to get impaled. He didn't. I just thought, again, with that rage, should have been a much more violent death than just going down an elevator shaft. Looks, he's there. Again, he just, that character seemed like he deserved a much more violent death to me. At least to me. The lawyers are back together. They find out that detective who killed his partner in the hospital and was blamed on Daredevil, that detective's actually alive. They find him. Daredevil saves him. Gets him to go to the cops, talk. A bunch of people get arrested, including Fisk. But Fisk is able to escape. By this point, I didn't even mention in a previous episode, one of them, there's a guy that he talks to, I think is mentally handicapped. And even he beats up Daredevil for a bit. I'm like, yeah, again, everybody beats up Daredevil. Every fucking person. But that's where he gets the armor from. And he comes back to him and he gets his armor. That's where he did the Daredevil. Which looks okay. I mean, I would still say I like the 2003 movie. Daredevil looked better. I do. But this looked alright. And he finally gets in the costume. And then he fights Wilson Fisk. Pretty good fight. One of the better fights in the season. Which should be, because it's the final episode of the season. Knocks him out. Wilson Fisk is arrested. And I didn't notice any sequel bait type of thing. So it's nice because there is an ending. So if you don't want to watch anymore, boom, there is an ending. Fisk is in jail. Their law firm is more established. Something went right. So that was nice to see. There's a finality, at least at that point. And then if you want to do more in the future, you can. So I do think it ended strong. Like I said, I would say my favorite episodes would be... It's hard to rank them. The last episode, 13, I really enjoyed. 2, 4, 6, I really enjoyed. And episode 7, I really enjoyed. So I would say those are my top 5. The worst, 10 and 11, I did not care for, really. 9, not so much. 5, not so much. And I think, again, that comes down with the pacing, is that, okay, there's 5 episodes I really liked. 3 I could deal with a bit. 12 I could deal with a bit. That's what I mean. If this was 8 episodes, and some of the other stuff you just shorten, you pace it better, in my opinion, it would be a better thing. I'd be curious if someone did like an edit where they took the show, they try to make it like a, I don't know how you could do it because there's so much stuff, but some people take that and they make it like a, I don't know, like a 3-4 hour movie. Like, if you fit in the fight scenes, you keep all the fight scenes, and then I'd just be interested to watch that, to see how it played out. But overall, I would say, yes, I did like it. I didn't love it. But Charlie Cox, very solid in the role. When he was Daredevil, he didn't have that stupid, goofy Batman, Christian Bale, which I know some people get mad that I said that in my Batman Begins review, but I'm going to say it again, because being honest, I think Christian Bale's Batman voice is fucking ridiculous. I know people say it's intimidating. No. I was sort of, shut up, baby. I'm not intimidated. I'm laughing. This voice I thought worked better when he's Daredevil. That voice worked better compared to Christian Bale's Batman. And despite my flaws and nitpicks, I would say this is still better than Batman Begins, in my opinion. I would still rather watch this again than Batman Begins. The Daredevil, I liked. Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, I liked. Wilson Fisk, Vincent D'Onofrio, I liked. The fight scenes, for the most part, pretty well done and choreographed. Cool to see people like Scott Glenn's character. I like the Ben Urich guy. The lighting has a gritty noir feel to it. Don't mind it. The fight scenes didn't have stupid fucking annoying shaky cam. I wasn't confused as to what the hell was going on. It ended strongly and not weakly. That helps. Because you wanted to see how the destination is. If the destination was ass, it would hurt it. Again, my issues... The pacing, I don't think it need to be 13 episodes. If they were able to have the opportunity, I think 8 episodes would suffice. Karen Page, there's some parts, I didn't mind her in episode 1. I didn't mind her when she shot the Wesley guy. Other parts, I'm like, indifferent. Foggy, I think, is the worst part of it. Yes, people go, you need comic relief. Well, then do it better or funnier. I didn't think his lines were funny. I didn't think his dialogue was funny. I thought he was a poor actor at the beginning. And then as he got better, I thought his character was just more annoying, aggravating, and ball-scratching. When Daredevil was out of the picture, and it was more about the investigation, this company just wasn't as interesting to me. I would forget I was watching Daredevil. I would think I'm watching a crappy Law and Order show. I mean, is this Daredevil or is this Law and Order? Is it Special Victims Unit or is it Criminal Intent? But I don't know. I'm trying to think. The music, passable. I mean, I don't have any strong feelings one way or another with the music. The suit, the simple black, it was fine. The pajama stuff, it was fine. Remind me of the Daredevil on the Incredible Hulk TV show. And again, when it had the suit at the end, okay, looked alright, looked neat. Like I said, I prefer the 2003 movie. People don't get mad about that. And I even said that 2003 movie has flaws. The CGI does not hold up at all, among other stuff. But I still like that, movie, beginning, middle, and end. But again, I liked it. I would give it. God, I don't know how to rank a TV show. I mean, a season. I would say, to be fair and generous, 3.5 out of 5 stars for a season. And I don't really rank seasons of a show, but I would say 3.5 out of 5. Good. I don't think it's a masterpiece like people say, but good, but not without its flaws, at least for me personally. And overall, that's that. So, Richard, I hope the review sufficed. Thank you once again for the generous PayPal request. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. I don't know if anyone's going to watch till the end of this, because I figure, Richard, if you're watching, least I could do is give you a longer video and review. I figure that's the least I can do. So thank you once again. Take care, guys. We will see you later. Bye-bye.